Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Owlet tournament. I am your host and play-by-play caster Reignbow. We've got an excellent match for you tonight featuring Velocity University versus the Crusaders. Joining me in the commentary booth tonight is Mysfyt on the color. How are you doing tonight?
You know, I'm doing great, and I'm excited to see these two teams face off. Both these teams look to be very, very solid in this Majors division, and I'm excited to see what each team. Velocity, of course, is one of the lower ranked teams in the preliminary, based off of the statistics that were brought up on the desk. But I talked to them last night, and they're ready to give it their all. They were actually a little bit sad they weren't able to face teams as their first game. They wanted to face other bench boys as dice rolls as their first game to show what they can bring to the table and show that they can compete in this Majors division. So they are very confident in their ability to perform here. Crusaders, my team has scrimmed them, and they were they have a lot of individual talent on their players. It's a matter of bringing it together for their team. Names to look out for, McNewby is an outstanding DPS player. He pops off, really good hit scan player, very consistent, which is something a lot of hit scan players do struggle with. And on Velocity University, both Dave Stryker and Quackamore are very, the most high-ranked players on this team, so I expect the tank line for Velocity University to make a lot of big plays.
Yep. So the first map we are going to be going to is Ilios. So what are going to be some things we're going to be looking out for on this map?
Well, obviously the meta has recently just changed. Of course, Hog getting buffed, Double Shield getting Sledgehammer nerfed, Brig getting nerfed. The meta is kind of unclear right now, and especially on Ilios, each map kind of has its own stuff. Dive is something we can see here a lot. My team has seen a lot of dive in scrims on Ilios. And it is just kind of a good map for it, right? Ruins, we see the Widow variants of dive. For Lighthouse, we can see some dive. Sometimes Brawl as well. And on Well especially, I do think dive is very good. The Ball variant there is especially good. Ball can get a lot of room to work with there due to how many health packs are sitting around the point. So I would expect to see comps like that come out. Double Bubble is kind of what I think is going to be the meta going forward. And so I do expect to see mostly that. But we'll see what each of these teams bring out. I don't know their specific strengths and weaknesses. Maybe they're really good at Brawl and they just decide to run that. I'm excited to see what each team can bring out here.
Yeah, we are going to be starting off on Well, a wonderful boot map. So yeah, we're gonna start to see what the comps these two teams are gonna be pulling out here. Currently seeing some more meme picks on the side of Crusaders, but let's start taking a look at what Velocity University is putting together.
Yeah, it looks like they will be opting for a Pharah dive composition, which is something that has seen value here, even when dive was not meta. Pharah, of course, with a lot of places she can set up from the lighthouse, or the windmill rather, on the one side of point is really good for a Pharah to play around. And it looks like we will actually see both teams pull out it. So we get to see a bit of a dogfight going on here.
Yeah, it's always really exciting to see those Pharahs, because sometimes you just see those double dinks up in the sky, and it's really just satisfying to watch. Yeah. Even more satisfying when you get them. But yeah, I'm super excited because we do have basically just a mirror matchup, and so it comes down to who can play the comp better than the other team.
We do see a slight difference here between the McCree and the Ash, which oh no, now it is a complete mirror. I lied. I'm sorry. That was disrespectful of me to do to you. It is an absolute mirror comp, so it will be who plays it better. And I'm excited to see which one has the stuff that it takes to pull this one out.
Yep, teams rotating to different sides here as they start to face off. Just kind of poking at each other right now with the Pharah and the Zarya's just lobbing shots. Hoping to, maybe get some of that initial pick damage in. looking to set up some of their dives. You see the first Winston going to be leaping in with both of those bubbles coming through, trying to get some of that damage. They do have control of the point over there on Crusaders, but it is going to be Velocity University stepping on point just in time to contest that, but it will be Crusaders capping that with Dave Striker going down to the McCree. And it looks like Crusaders just have complete control right now. Velocity University not really getting much done there. They looked a bit passive in that fight where you see Crusaders pushing onto University a lot more.
Yeah, we saw a really good engagement there from Clutch Caliber and High Quality, able to push the core roster of the Velocity University off the point and get a really good foothold for McNewby to really do his thing there. And he's able to do a lot of work there. But as I say that, McNewby goes down early.
Ooh, yep, Dave Striker going in on that Cree, just trying to get some extra kills there, and they will be capping the point over there on University as Crusaders just kind of backed up with the loss of their McCree, but they do have pretty equal numbers here and will be able to come back into this fight and start facing off. But Texas going to be taking down Xylesia once again, and Brewer going down, and so both the Far Mercy is getting taken out there over on the side of University. It looks pretty good for Crusaders to be taking back this point soon, but both those tanks are still in there, trying to keep that space for University. Quackmore taking down the enemy tank in High Quality, and it looks like it's going to be actually staying for University right now as they continue to get those kills. Quackmore does go down to Clutch Caliber there, but I don't think it's really going to be enough for Crusaders, and they will have to back out here.
Yeah, that was a really, really weird fight because both teams really had a chance to push their advantage and get it done. But neither team really had the aggression to truly finish the fight, so they kind of kept trading picks back and forth until it finally went in the way of Velocity University, who now has quite a few, or rather, I should say, not really enough ults comparatively to Crusaders, who have a lot of really powerful ults coming online. I would expect to see Crusaders have the advantage here, unless Velocity can play this very carefully.
Yep, I definitely agree with you there. And we are going to be seeing Crusaders rotating around, taking a bit of an angle, throwing down that high noon, not really getting anything with it yet, but we did see Clutch Caliber diving in there, but we're going to see the barrage coming through from Xylesia, able to take out Dave Striker, but Little Sloth was able to take out McNewby. So it is a bit more even. High Quality falling into the pit there a little bit, and Egg using the high noon to take out Gerbert. So it is staying pretty even, but I think I really don't know where it's going because it's staying very even as kills are really going to both sides here. Both teams just trying to stay in the fight. Texas will take down Clutch Caliber, but Chinote just denied that and brought him back. But Chinote does fall to the Ana on Velocity University, and right now it's still that uphill fight for Crusaders right now, as they just need to get the cap on this point. It's been pretty well in University's control. The grab did come through there, is pretty big, and was able to take out Clutch Caliber. Little Salt does go down to Gerbert though, and it looks like it's swinging much more towards University right now. Just need to get that touch, see if they can maybe bring something out, get some essential kills, but it doesn't look like they are going to be able to do that, and we are going to be seeing the first point of Ilios go to Velocity University.
And these fights are taking like forever. Like we saw maybe 3 good fights that whole point, maybe 4. But these fights are going a really, really long time there. Velocity University did a really good job of holding that point down. Tex did a really good job of fragging on the Ana. I do like to see me some Anas who know when to get aggressive and know when to hit the enemy team instead of their own team. That's always good to see. But overall, we see a little bit more of like passive play coming out from the side of Velocity University, but they're playing it well. They're not playing passive and like they're playing stupid. They're playing passive with a purpose. They're playing passive to wait and punish the Crusaders, who are making a lot of mistakes, getting really reckless with their dives. And while that it can get you picks, it can also get you punished, and that's what Velocity University is doing right now. We'll have to see how that continues as both teams will switch up their comps here. A little bit different looks on both sides, but both will be running a brawl comp here.
Yep, I definitely love me some Brawl, seeing the Ryan v. Ryans going on. Will be Velocity University staying up on point first, but Dave Striker going down could very easily loosen the fight and let Crusaders just kind of run all over them here, and that does seem to be what's happening right now. Oh, no, it's a single boop, but looked like a double boop coming out there from Chinote, and that looks like they just need to take out the Lucio there, I believe, who's just hanging around point, and they will be capping, getting the first cap here on Lighthouse.
Yeah, now I can start to like break down the differences in these comps. The Mei Cree, or now Mei Ash, from Velocity University is much more of a frontline comp. You kind of use the Mei to help your Rein win the Rein your Rein, win the front line, and that creates space for your hit scan. But the double sniper type comp that the Crusaders are running is a much more pick potential comp, and they were able to find the picks in that first fight there, and it was able to give them point control early on.
Yeah, definitely agree. We're going to be seeing these teams start to face off. Egg getting the first pit onto Xylesia as they continue to move towards point, trying to use that wall to get some separation between Clutch Caliber and his team. But it wasn't really able to get much out there, but they are getting kills otherwise, and with the charge from Clutch Caliber, they were able to take him out, and they are slowly getting more and more control on the point. We do see the Dragons coming out trying to get someone, and they do catch Brewer. Yes, it did get a kill there, but it's not going to be enough with Little Sloth really kind of putting his foot down with that Mei and taking out those last few stragglers on point.
That was a really poor Dragon from Xylesia. I get the idea behind it of, like, you know, throw it in, hope it gets a disruption, hope it gets a kill, and it did somehow, but also, like, now you lose your grab Dragons, which is, like, the best combo you have in this comp. You will be able to do the grab Nano Rein, which is, like, still pretty good. It will still be a lot of damage for your Rein and allow him to make a play, but it's like, why give up that great win condition?
Ooh, an amazing rotation on to get that shatter. Really good job from Clutch Caliber and his team. And it looks like with that, they should be able to bring this out, but we do see the shatter coming down from the enemy. Reinhardt wasn't able to get a lot though, and it will be Crusaders taking this point here.
Yeah, that was a very interesting play there. That was a weird rotation. We don't really see, like, people go through that little area that much. But Velocity University not able to catch Crusaders on that rotation. Clutch Caliber with a huge shatter there helps his team win the fight with only 2 ultimates, and now they are sitting pretty on this point, needing only like 1 or 2 more clean fights here, and they have the ult to do it. They have the defensive sound barrier, the grab, and they have the bob from Nick Newby, so they are looking really, really good here going into this next fight.
Yeah, for sure. We do get to see that grab thrown down along with a Blizzard. The B getting dropped to try to keep his team alive, but it looks like these kills are going to be coming through rather soon here. Yep, and that's going to be a pretty clean sweep coming out there from University. You just need to take out that Lucio, which I believe is the only holdout, and they will be recapping this point here.
Yeah, they weren't taking any chances there, using all of their offensive ults in one. The grab Blizzard isn't really something we see here, and now they don't really have any definitive fight winners saved up for this next fight, whereas High Quality is holding this grab, and Xylesia is coming up on this Dragon, so maybe a bit of an over ult there from Velocity University. However, they do have both their support ults, so there is a chance they can survive this grab Dragons combo if they play it well enough.
Yeah, I'm sure it's really going to come down to the supports in this upcoming fight here, because Crusaders just need to win 1 battle here, and they get the first initial pick on the Egg. We do see that peak getting dropped, but the Dragons is going to be coming through, and that's going to be a pretty clean team kill coming out there from Crusaders, just able to clear them out with that grab Dragons, because Beat can only do so much, and basically has to be perfectly timed to really keep your team alive through that. So it is going to be Crusaders taking that. We just might see a touch coming here from University, but the sleep is going to prevent that there, and Velocity University is not going to be able to make it to point.
Yeah, that was a very bit of a different round than what we saw in the first. Crusaders seem to have a lot more control in that round. I think the Brawl comp does favor them a little bit more than it favors Velocity University. Clutch Caliber making a lot of really good plays on that map in particular. Something I do want to point out there towards the end, we talked about how the support ults needed to be big there to save them from that grab, and I think they could have lived it. But I think Tex was a little bit too antsy with his Coalescence, tried to pop it early, and they tried to win off that, but the damage wasn't there, and Tex ended up getting caught in the grab. So instead of being outside looking in and trying to heal his team with the Coalescence, he didn't have that extra bit of healing to keep his team alive through the grab Dragons, and that might have been the game changer if he had.
Yeah, definitely one of the biggest ways to kind of play against that grab Dragons is just playing a bit more separated than you usually would, so you don't all get caught up and you're able to help each other a lot more. But we are going to be seeing both teams moving towards point here. It's going to be Crusaders kind of getting set up on point first, as we see Velocity University kind of taking that high ground position with their double bubble comp there, but Xylesia is going to come with the Doomfist and take out Little Sloth, which is a good initial pick for Crusaders here as they continue to try to get more. But Egg is going to get that snipe onto McNewby, and Dave Striker getting kill onto Gerbert, swinging more towards University right now, as both these teams just try to continue to find picks in this fight. Xylesia with another kill, able to take out Tex. That's both Annas going down in this fight, but Clutch Caliber is going to be the first main tank to fall here, and it is going to swing towards University towards the end of that fight.
Yeah, very scrappy first fight there. Clutch Caliber putting up 83% to his first shadow there. Really good job from him. But unfortunately, they're just not able to find enough picks there. Xylesia, of course, getting that pick on the Genji early, but Egg able to find a trade there. Both these teams running very different comps. We see the Doom McCree, or the Doom Ash, I should say, Brawl composition versus this double bubble dive comp. And I have to say, I do prefer Velocity's comp. I think you can get a lot more value on this map.
Yeah, we do see Clutch Caliber getting a nice charge over there onto Dave Striker, able to take him out pretty early in this fight. A huge anti was landed, but the Shatter is going to help negate some of the damage that would come through for that. And they're able to clean up Velocity University pretty quickly there. Some great plays coming out from Clutch Caliber and the rest of the team to help support that play.
Yeah, Dave Striker getting a little bit too aggressive there. There was no real reason to engage that far up. Typically what you want to do with Winston here, if you have control, is get on that little high ground to the right and kind of just like wait and hold that space. Going past that like one little platform there where your team can't see you, that's not really going to get any value. And Dave Striker kind of just throws the fight there.
Yeah, and we see him going, basically doing the same thing, again, going past the platform, but this time he does have Primal, so he is able to live it out here, and he probably knew that going in, knew he had the ult to keep himself alive, and is able to take out Clutch Caliber off of it, diving into the backline now, trying to get some picks over there, and is able to take out Gerbert off of that. And so just on University to continue to clean up the rest of the teams and prevent them from getting picks.
Yeah, Dave Striker absolutely making up for his slight feed there in the previous fight, picking up 3 picks for his team with the help of the Nano from Tex. And now they are back in control of this point, but a lot of ultimates on the side of this Brawl comp from Crusaders. These ultimates are much more effective than the comp, or than the ults on the side of this dive comp. So that might be a really big game changer going into this next fight.
Yeah, and we're going to see the grab coming out early here from University, trying to take out Crusaders, but they aren't really able to get much off of it, and Crusaders responds with their own ulting, is getting a lot more value. Little Sloth in the backline, though, with that Blade, getting 2 picks, and so it's still, you know, slightly possible for Velocity University with those extra 2 picks coming in. It's just going to be going the way of Crusaders. Yes, they're going to be getting this point back.
Crusaders are able to win that fight, but it does cost them everything. McNewbie is going to take the Widow 1v1 now with Egg. I know from scrims, McNewbie is pretty nutty on this character, so I'll be watching that very closely. Both these teams are going to have to take a pretty dry fight here, and it looks like it will come down to the last fight, given what we see right now.
Yeah, both teams just kind of facing off, main tank being main tank, you know, just trying to push back each other, take that space from McNewbie. Is going to get the first pick onto Egg there. Like you were talking about with that Widow switch, able to get the snipe. These teams are just kind of going into each other a bit more now, and High Quality and Clutch Caliber able to get those picks, and it's really going the way of Crusaders. Dave Stark was the one pick onto Gerber, but it's not going to be enough, and Crusaders just getting way more kills here in this fight, and is going to be winning. Just 1 fight left for Velocity University to try to take this back.
This Widow Doomfist comp has so much pick potential. All it takes is 1 punch from the Doom or 1 left click from this Widow, and the team fight is all but over. We are approaching the last fight here, and there's no real fight winners on either side. It's going to come down completely to individual plays to decide this one.
Yeah, for sure. And we're going to be seeing those sights get popped. The Nano coming through onto the Winston. Dave Stark is able to get the kill to no table. Xylesia takes that Little Sloth. The huge shadow coming through from Clutch Caliber, and able to get some picks off of that. Xylesia popping off and getting an additional 2 kills for Crusaders. And it's just the tank line left here for Velocity University. Now just the Zarya, and that is going to be it. I don't think they have anyone that can touch here. Just the Genji trying to come in, and we will be seeing Ilios go towards Crusaders. Not what you'd really guess from watching the first map, but Crusaders were really able to bring it back on those extra 2 maps when they're able to pull out their Reinhardt. And really had a good showing with that team comp.
I'd like to ask for a quick moment of silence for Little Sloth's death there on the final fight. That was completely that was just, I feel for him. What happened there, for those of you that missed it, is that Xylesia turned around to punch the Nano to Winston, and at the same time, dude went in with the Genji dash, because, you know, he's following his Winston, just trying to go in on what he was going in on, you know, do the damage, do the thing that the Genji do. And at the same time Xylesia released the punch, Little Sloth just appears right in front of him and just dies. And that was probably the most unlucky death I've ever seen in Owlet. He didn't deserve that. He had done absolutely nothing the whole map to deserve such a death like that. And I think it ended up actually like winning Crusaders the fight, because now the pick potential of the Genji's gone. You just win. And that's really unlucky for Velocity University there. That came down to the final fight on that map. Velocity University definitely showing that they have the stuff to hang with Crusaders, but Crusaders just a little bit more consistent in the way they're playing right now. They're using their ults much more effectively, and I think it's getting them much more value in these fights. But I definitely think Velocity University has what it takes to turn it around. We saw some good plays from players like Egg, from players like Tax, and I think they have what it takes to hang here. It's just going to come down to what they do on their map pick now.
Yeah, it's definitely looking very close, and I think what maps we see is actually could make a huge difference, because we see Velocity University winning on that kind of dive v dive, but Crusaders winning more when the Rhine comes into play. So I think just maps and what comps they're able to pull out on those maps could be the difference maker here. Do you think they might try to pull out a watch point Gibraltar because they do kind of favor more of that dive?
I mean, that depends on if they want to take the brawl here. I mean, I guess so. Like the escort maps in the pool, if I'm not mistaken, are Havana, Gibraltar, and what's the last one?
Dorado.
Okay, so all those pretty it's either you run double sniper on Havana or you run dive on the other tier. So it kind of depends. Is do they think they have like the pick potential to pick the Havana and run like a double sniper comp, or do they want to try to take the dive? And like you mentioned, they do favor this dive composition more. It looks like we will end up actually be going to Havana. They have been favoring the dive comp, but Ilios is a pretty dive-heavy map as it is, especially in this new meta. I think that dive is just the best, strategy on that map, and maybe it isn't just Velocity's best comp; it's just their best strat for that map. So this map, typically we don't see a lot of dive here. It's like you can maybe run it, but like these long sightlines make it really hard. To stage a dive. It's really hard to get in position when you have to deal with these long sightlines with these bursty characters like Widowmaker and Ashe and Hanzo, who can just sit up on high ground and poke you down from distance. Typically we see double shield with like Bap Zen and 2 snipers, and that's more of the type of speed we play on this map. So I would expect to see that from both sides. Both these teams do have a lot of good, or they at least have one good sniper on both sides. Egg was making a lot of plays in the hit scan role, as was McNewby. So I'm excited to see what both these teams pull out here. I'm excited to get this one underway.
Yeah, and you did talk about how we see double shield here on Afana. We're not going to be seeing with the Orisa, because Orisa has been basically deleted. I mean, a lot more than she was before. So I'm guessing we're going to be seeing teams pull out more of a Reinhardt Brawl type double shield.
Yeah,
we'll have to see though.
I don't think that'll happen. I think the Orisa is still the most survivable, because when you think about it, like 4 to 5 versus snipers is just you live, right? Halt was what got touched, and Halt wasn't really a big cornerstone of the double sniper comp. So I still think Orisa is the best pick here. Maybe these teams do favor the Reinhardt. It is a low enough elo in which comfort picks like that aren't exactly a bad idea. So I wouldn't be like opposed to that. Of course, Clutch Caliber had a really, really good performance on the Reinhardt. So maybe he does pull it out. Maybe they think they can win the front line and the pick battle. But I would expect to see more of an Orisa Sigma from both sides. It's much more consistent. It's much easier. You can combo the pull dragons, maybe not as well as you could on the last patch, but it's still a combo. You're still gonna guarantee at least a kill out of it, and that can sometimes be enough to win these fights.
Yeah, definitely fair enough there. And we are going to be seeing a switch coming out from Crusaders. They're going to be swapping Clutch Caliber for Paper Monk. So I'm curious to see how Paper Monk's going to be performing. And other main tanks, they're not going to be switching, anything else around. But so just Paper Monk coming in on that main tank. So I think it's going to be interesting to see how he performs in comparison to Clutch Caliber.
Yeah, from what we know from the team card, Paper Monk is a pretty gifted Orisa player. So that would support the idea that they are going to play a pick comp here. Of course, this isn't their map pick, so it may be some other reason. But I would expect to see that. I still think it has a lot of value. You saw an Owl today, if you watched. Teams were still running double shield, at least in the NA division. We in APAC, they were running more divey comps. Something that I am curious to see if we'll see. We saw a lot of Junkrat today in Owl, which I haven't really figured out why yet. I mean, like I get the appeal of having a Junkrat in that comp. It's a lot of damage. It can help you win the shield war, but I haven't figured out why that's better than things like Echo or Tracer. Like Ashe Tracer was the thing on like the previous patch. What about this patch makes Junkrat better? Is the fact that like Sigma Shield is more susceptible to breaking now because it has less regen? Like what is the reason behind that? So I'm excited to see if we will see Junkrat on either side to help win that shield war, or for whatever reason it is, so that I can analyze it and start to get an idea of that. I love learning new metas. I love just like seeing new stuff come out.
The shield break seems pretty likely, so that's definitely one of the things he's been known for, is that shield break, and for playing against bunker comps and stuff. So I wouldn't be surprised if that is why he's getting played. But yeah, you know, as you said, we'll kind of see as the meta begins to develop with the new patch coming through. Let's start to take a look at what these teams have pulled out here for us on Havana.
This is actually very strange. So we do see the Junkrat come out, like I mentioned, but it isn't exactly what I was expecting. We are going to see a Brawl comp come out here for Crusaders. That's kind of strange. I wasn't... I mean, Clutch Caliber did a really good job on the Reinhardt, in my opinion, on the last map. So maybe maybe they're more used to Paper Monk playing it in scrims. Maybe Clutch Caliber is more of like an off tank, and they just had to play Ryan because they thought they could take it. Like they could take like a Ryan v Ryan there. I don't know. This is a little bit interesting. This is a very strange comp. The Ana Zenyatta with a Junkrat Widow. This is like a bad ranked comp. This is what you'd see in like gold. But I mean, they have the stuff to make this work. Nick Newbie again is a very good Widow player.
I was about to say I wouldn't be surprised to see them swapping. I mean, some of the people on Crusaders have been generally more on the meme side, so yeah, they do swap their comp here. And Egg is getting nice 2 initial picks onto the DPS for, or no, Crusaders, sorry. University was the team. I forgot they switched sides there. They start getting killed on Paper Monk, so they just kind of roll over Crusaders there right at the beginning.
Yeah, once the threat from that Widow is gone, it kind of becomes a lot easier to push in here, especially now that you can commit both these shields to the front line and not have to leave one of them on that Widow. So a quick first fight win here for Velocity University. Not able to build up any real ults yet, but of course when you win the fight that fast, neither is your opponent. So they now have a really good position to take this next fight against Crusaders.
Yeah, we do see Crusaders trying to get some position up there, and Xylesia gets the deflect on the Fire Strike and hits Little Sloth with it, getting a nice pick there. Quackamore comes back and takes down Xylesia though, so it's still pretty even for these two teams with both their Genjis gone. Just trying to face off and get those kills. Paper Monk takes out Dave Striker, but McNewbie also does fall there. It seems more on the side of Velocity University, but with their main tank down, it becomes very hard to hold any space, and so they will be kind of pulling back more into their spawn there. Although Quackamore's still holding out a whole lot there. And Little Sloth does get a kill into Gerbert, so they're kind of just holding that middle ground. Now that Dave Striker's back, they're going to be pushing back in here. And they are able to take out Paper Monk, so it's looking really good for University here as the Nano comes down onto Dave Striker, and he's just kind of barreling through Crusaders right now, and they are going to get the cap onto point A.
I don't really like that Nano there. It does help them like secure that fight, but I think they would have won without it, and now they don't have this Nano Blade. They aren't running the Zarya either, so they can't combo like a Grav Blade. I suppose you could try to combo a Flux Blade, but that's just really inconsistent, and I really wouldn't recommend it. The big thing we'll have to see here is who can get the most value out of their tank holds. Of course, both teams with those ultimates charged right now. Little Sloth will build up a blade in this fight, but Chinote will have his transport if these ult rates are anything to go by.
And we're going to be seeing the Flux coming through there. Dave Stark with the charge, able to take out Gerber. Paper Monk does come back and take out Little Sloth, though. The trans gets thrown down here from Chinote, trying to help keep Crusaders alive and in here, but does get taken out by Egg. High Quality does come back and take out Brewer, so it's 2 supports down here for either side. Xylesia falling to Quackamore, and it's just back and forth with these picks right now, but right now it does seem to be leaning towards University yet again as Egg continues to get these picks on the Ashe, putting up a really good performance here on Havana.
Yeah, Egg has been dominant this entire map. He was the one who got the first pick onto the Widow on the first point that helped them secure that point, and absolutely popping off in that fight, playing very slow and allowing his team time to make space for him, not getting too aggressive, not being too stupid, just playing safe, getting these picks, and now he will have a bod going to the next fight. A lot of Qs on the side of Velocity University as we get into this third point here.
Yeah, but it's all going to come down to how they get used and which team can get more value from their ults. You know, as always, it's definitely still possible for Crusaders to just be more efficient with this and pull this fight out. We are going to be seeing the Nano Blade come down first. The Shatter is going to be trying to cancel. It doesn't actually land, and Little Sloth is going to get a nice 2k there, with Brewer also getting kill onto Paper Monk. And it's just going to be Velocity University continuing their trend of doing and performing really well on here. The only hiccup they really had was it didn't even last that long. It was like half a fight loss as they just kind of waited in the wings for Dave Striker to come back on point A. But other than that, they've gone pretty much unimpeded here.
Dave Striker's going for a flying shatter. There is absolutely... I will bet my left nut that he does not get away with this flank. There is absolutely no way they don't figure out where he is.
Yeah, basically, if you don't see the main tank, you gotta just start wondering where he is and start keeping an eye out. But he does come through and get, I think he landed at least one person. And egg with that Bob, great placement there to get the 3K. And it's just going to be them continuing to push forward here.
I cannot believe he got away with that. Like, they could see the entire team. How did they not know the Ryan was missing? Oh, no!
They were right above him, so it's a bit harder from the spot now. But yeah, you gotta keep that awareness up. Lilsalt does get the count to Xylesia. They do have really close spots, but the quickness of these kills coming through, it's definitely not looking good for Crusaders. Just have the ball to stall right now as they wait for these respawns to come through. We are gonna be seeing the Tracer come back in to contest, but she's not gonna last very long. She is very squishy, and I don't think they're gonna have anyone else touch. They're gonna be capping point C with 3 minutes 17 on the clock. It's a very, very uphill battle, especially with how easy it is to get stopped on point A of this map. And even if they don't fully get stopped there, you tend to lose a lot of time there if you can't, you know, kind of get that initial fight win.
I'm still reeling over the fact that my dude got off. Like, this is the Diamond Division, bro. You got off a Flame Shatter and I mean, hey, here's the thing. It's so silver that the Diamonds will never expect it. The Flame Shatter... For like, I mean, this dude's playing like bumper right now. I love that. You'll love to see it, honestly. This is what we've been missing from Overwatch. He's Flame Shatter and Reinhardt's. Please get Rein back into the meta. Brawl is the best meta. It is the most consistent. It's the most fun. It's the most fluid.
Dude,
it's
what I hear from Reinhardt players is Reinhardt's always in the meta if you believe he is.
That's not what I hear. Them just whine and complain all the time because Goats is over. That's typically what I hear.
You know, I'm also Goats is over, but that's not the point here. Let's start talking about these comps we have for Velocity University's defense.
Yeah, Velocity University going to come out with this May Ash comp with the Rein Zarya. I really don't understand this Rein Zarya here. The Rein Zarya does not get a lot of value in these really open, long sideline maps. I do prefer the Rein Sigma that we see on the attack from Crusaders. We also will see a double sniper, so it seems like you will... Oh, I didn't even notice. They're spawn camping.
Yeah, they're holding really close there. Let's see how this goes for them. And get the initial charge, doesn't quite get anything, and Anti does come through onto that Reinhardt. But the wall is going to save him from really getting punished on that. So they're still able to hold this here, and Egg getting killed into McNewbie. Fast response, Sebastian's over on that side trying to get some value, but gets flooded out pretty quickly and melted down. And so, yeah, they're just still being kept in spawn right now. You will see the fast respawns, but if they can't get the damage in, it's all, you know, pretty much for nothing. As soon as one does get lost here on University, though, it can kind of crumble from there if they play it right.
Yeah, they gotta watch out for this Widow. If McNewbie gets a single pick, it could all be over for this defense here.
Yeah, the sleep does come through, which is rather unfortunate. The wall is going to be cutting off high quality there. Huge shatter coming through. I feel for Crusaders right now. They're just kind of getting stomped into their spawn, barely able to walk out 10 feet without dying, or at least getting CC'd. So, this is rather unfortunate. They need to, get something here to get a pick.
I love how Velocity's playing this. They have someone on each door. They have the Mei watching the far right and the main door, while they have the Zarya watching the left, and the Ryan is sticking with the Mei. This is a really, really good strategy here. It's clear they've planned this out. Yeah,
for sure. Swinging out, Chinote gets a kill onto Egg, which could, if they continue going, Xylesia with the kill onto Tex. 2 kills do come down to the tank line for Crusaders, but they are continuing to get these picks, and so this is going to be enough to at least stop the spawn camp. Might not be enough to get them a lot of cart progress, but now with those kills coming through, it's definitely going to, but they are going to at least not be spawn camped any longer. They're finally able to leave and move on further into
spawn camping here on this map and on a lot of the escort maps. We have seen this even in the highest levels of play. The reason you do it is because it gives you a second fight on this first point. After you spawn camp them for a long time, even if it fails, you get like a clean recontest here, which you wouldn't get if you held the normal corner.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the Blizzard getting thrown down here. Xylesia is going to be able to get a kill on Dave Striker, though. Little Self getting a kill on McNewbie. It's kind of going back and forth. The shower did come through, and was able to take out Little Sloth off of that, continuing to try to clean up these kills, and they are succeeding in going the way of Crusaders right now. The rage built up inside them from that spawn camp, and they're taking no prisoners right now as they just continue to slaughter University as they continue to push through point A.
Yeah, it was a really, really good job of keeping Crusaders alive there from the supports. Tex with some good nades there, and even a nano to help them live through that. And they will get the point here, but as you can see, they're lacking a lot of time. They're lacking the amount of time that Velocity University had when they came in, because it took them 2 fights to break it instead of the 1 that Velocity needed. So that was a really, really good shot from Velocity University, but they got to keep up the pressure here. They can't let up, or they're going to lose their time advantage that they've earned.
Yeah, for sure. We're going to be seeing these shots getting lobbed back and forth between these two teams. And we'll see, you know, maybe when that grab is going to be coming out from Quackmore as Crusaders continues to push right under where Uni is set up. Just kind of poking back and forth still right now. And the grab is going to finally be coming out, getting Paper Monk there. They looks like they are going to be able to secure the kill. Dave Striker is in a bit deep with his Lucio in that back line. And Paper Monk is going to get taken down there. Oh, wait, no, sorry to count. I'm blind. But Zalicia is going to be getting a 2K, but gets taken down by the Reinhardt somehow there. And it is going to be University able to keep this fight here.
Yeah, there are a lot of Qs on the side of Crusaders. I would expect to see them break this here. They have this sound barrier to survive deals from Velocity University. They have this grab barrage here. They have no damage boost for it. Something that this comp is kind of lacking is any support for the Pharah. Even if you're going to not run the Mercy, at least run a break so you can heal her easier. The Lucio can't really do it very well.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing the grab coming through and the barrage only able to get 1 kill though, and Zalicia and Chinochi getting taken down. It's not looking good for Crusaders right now as the Deadeye is going to be coming out. Not quite getting a pick, but is able to take out the Rhine shield, and Paper Monk is going to go down soon after that. And so it's going to be University continuing to keep point B here. Oh, is there someone on point? Oh,
there is. Gerber got slept by Tex. And it was a little bit of not a 1v1 until the rest of Velocity University came back.
That's a huge stall for University there, though.
Yeah, it is. Gerber probably should have just tried to. He got a little bit of card progress, but he probably should have just died and gotten out. Really like early grab there from high quality. I can see the appeal, but Xylesia wasn't in position to get the grab off of it, and too many resources were still in play there for Velocity University. They were able to survive that win condition, and then it kind of just fell apart for Crusaders.
And they're going to be rotating onto the high ground to meet University. University has responded to the shatter for the anti-nade that came through is going to be really good for Crusaders here as they're able to get these kills. And I think really that nade was able to put enough pressure on University. They weren't able to capitalize off of that shatter.
Yeah, and it looks like they will be able to push all the way here. It does look like they are going to try for a recontest, but I don't think they'll have enough people back to make it a very clean one. So it would just be to stall some time off of their opponents here, which isn't a bad strategy. It's definitely a worthwhile one.
Yes, they are going to be coming through here. Dave Striker, or no, sorry, that was Paper Monk trying to get the shatter there. Does get on Dave Striker, but dies to the Blizzard. And it looks like it is going to be University actually able to win this fight. You know, it seemed a bit far-fetched, but they are able to get it. And now there's only 45 seconds left on the clock for Crusaders to come in and get this last fight.
Yeah, I believe I spoke too soon. I was watching the players from Velocity University come back from spawn there, and I didn't realize that the tanks from Crusaders didn't push up to hold that one area that they need to push back through and stop that recontest. They just sat on cart and allowed enough space for Velocity University to come in and take that fight.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing them coming in here, getting that charge onto the nanoed Reinhardt. The Flux is going to be coming out, but the beat to respond, trying to keep the team alive, and it's going to be, the tank's getting a lot of value there on Crusaders, and they are going to get this point B cap, but you have to look at the timing here. Only 1 minute 36 seconds in comparison to University's 3 minutes 17, and Crusaders haven't even capped point C. This is how much time they have to get to the end here. So it's not looking good for Crusaders right now. They have to do this pretty perfectly if they want to continue to look good in this map. And
there's a good pick there from McNewbie. Having this Widow with the Widow here is going to be very interesting. We do see it a lot on this point. I am excited to see how this will turn out. I do think if Crusaders are going to cap this, they will have to cap it in overtime. I don't even think the point can make it there. I suppose it's possible without stalling, but of course we have to be realistic. There is going to be a stall at some point in this map, and it's just going to come down to
these picks though. Yeah, we're going to be getting these picks on the Widow. The Grav is going to be coming out along with the Barrage. Not able to get a lot of value. Ooh, never mind. There's a 2K right there at the end. Zalesia did die, but you are able to get 2 picks. Chinote getting a pick onto Brewer as well, and on Detect, taking out the support line of the enemy team. So they, are still making a lot of progress. They're doing pretty much as best as they can right now, but the stall is going to come through, and that's really what's going to be the difference maker here in this last fight. Is how well University can put up this stall. We're going to be seeing the beat coming through for University. Not particularly in response to anything, but Egg is going to be able to get the kill into Gerber. The Shatter did come through from Paper Mug, not really getting a lot off of that. And it's University just clearing Crusaders off the cart. And I don't think they're going to have enough time to get back to create any sort of last fight here. And it's just going to be going to University.
Yeah, University played that recontest very, very well. The Roadhog was actually a really, really good pick there. Roadhog recently getting the buff that makes the one-shots more consistent and just a little bit more damage overall, upping the damage of his pellets to 5 to 6, which, creates a lot more damage. And he's able to find the picks that he needs. Now they will bring the series to a 1-1 here. Velocity doing a really, really good job on their map pick. Clearly a well-practiced map for them. They had this spawn camp at the beginning there. Huge shatter from Dave Stryker. And it looks like we're in for an even match here, boys. No more 3 Overwatch like we saw yesterday.
Yeah, and I definitely love seeing this 1-1 at the half, and so I'm super excited to see what's going to happen, whether it's going to be Velocity University just really finding, they found their stride and they're going to dominate for the rest, or Crusaders going to be able to bring it back. So make sure to stay tuned in. We are going to go to a halftime break here, but we will be back with you pretty soon for the rest of the maps here. You just gotta keep moving forward. And welcome back to this lovely match here. It is Owlet Majors, and right now we are watching Crusaders versus Velocity University. Currently it is 1-1, so a very close match here. It was Crusaders looking pretty good on Ilias, but then Velocity University brought it back and had a pretty dominant Havana. We're going to be getting into King of Xur next, but definitely an interesting match here. Wouldn't you say, Mysfyt?
Yes, this is the first match in Majors that has actually not been a 3-0. We, of course, do not know how this one will play out yet, and that's why we hold the game. But now that both teams have taken a map off each other, this will not be a 3-0, so a little bit more close than all the other Majors games so far. I'm excited to see what happens here. We will be going to King's Row. As we saw on the first map, Crusaders kind of did play better in that Brawl comp, but that was when Clutch Caliber was in. They switched to that on Havana, and they didn't really play as well as Velocity did in that Brawl comp. Dave Stryker coming out with a lot of big plays. So I'm excited to see how this one plays out now that Clutch Caliber's gotten back in. Velocity University has their confidence up after that win on Havana. We'll have to see how it plays out here. Of course, this is Crusaders' map pick because they did lose the last one. So yeah, I'm excited to get this one underway. Kings Row is always a great map to watch. I'm excited to see what each team pulls out here.
And I did forget to mention, I didn't mean to talk about the other two matches that are going on right now. This way you don't have to switch off of our clearly superior cast that we have going on. But yeah, so VMT versus Kraken Skulls did end with a 3-0 for Vote Meme today. And over on the Hyperion versus Ignis Academy, it is Hyperion 3-0ing Ignis Academy. So some less interesting games going on in the minors division there. But at least we have an interesting one for you here with Crusaders versus Velocity University.
I think what he means to say is that you guys all at home, all watching from home, picked the right game to spectate today because it's actually going to be a close game, fun game to watch, back and forth instead of just 3 Overwatch, watching one team dominate. So you're very smart for choosing to come watch us instead of those other guys. Good job. Good work. I'm proud of you.
Yeah, I'm sure they were very entertaining casts as well. But yeah, so we are looking forward to getting into King's Row here. The teams are slowly getting ready here. But yeah, so let's keep talking about what we're going to be seeing in this map.
Yeah, of course, King's Row is kind of a pretty just brawl-heavy map. Even back in like Season 1 Dive, where Dive was viable everywhere, one of the only places it wasn't viable was King's Row. King's Row is a classic brawl map, and even when Double Shield is run here, it's typically Rein Sigma and not Orisa Sigma. So I always like this map. I think Brawl is the most fluid form of Overwatch. Everyone has fun in that comp, especially when it's on a Lucio, because then like there's playmaking potential throughout the entire lineup. The DPS have fun because it's like mid-range, kind of close quarters, a lot of fun, very fluid gameplay with the tanks. You know, the Reins, they take space and give up space. It's no like holding space and sitting in one spot and going pew 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 playing Orisa. I mean, come on, no one enjoys that.
There are people that enjoy that, believe it or not.
Those aren't people. Those are robots that the government uses to convince us that Jeff Kaplan is balancing this game correctly, and he's not. As much as I love him, he's not. Just make Rein meta, please.
Hey, the Orisa nerfs did come through,
True.
And while they don't quite affect the double shield, double sniper type comps, they do affect a lot of other comps where you did run that double shield. So we are going to be seeing a lot less of it, at the very least, with some more dive coming in, as everyone asked for, it seems. So yeah, that is some exciting stuff coming through. There were some good changes recently.
Yeah, I'm really excited to get this one underway. Brawl, as I've said, favorite comp. I'm excited to see the differences that each team pulls out, though. Both teams have shown the Rein Sigma and the Rein Zarya today. High Quality has been pretty good on the Zarya in terms of like damage and getting picks, but his grabs have been a little bit iffy. And Quackmore has had a really, really nutty Sigma. So I'll be looking out for the differences that we see here. And especially even in the DPS spots, we've seen Little Sloth on the Mei, so it's possible they run that. And I do believe we have seen Exalia on the Junkrat, which is something that's getting favored in the Overwatch League right now. So yeah, I'm excited to see the differences we see. I do expect Brawl on both sides, but I do anticipate differences in what each team runs.
Yeah, let's take a look at the defense first, because it's much less likely they're going to be memeing on us here. So I think the Pharah is an interesting choice for the defense.
Yeah, there is a lot of vertical cover on this map that you can play around, but typically we see it on attack and not defense due to the prowess of Widow on attack here. I mean, if you see a Pharah, you pretty much just go Widow, and you're just like, yep, you're done. But I mean, hey, Exilia, or excuse me, Xylasia, that is one of her, or his best. I'm like getting it confused with Azalea from last season on Dumpster Divers. What am I doing? Sorry, Xylasia. Farah is one of their favorite characters to play, and they have been pretty solid on it when they pulled that out so far. So obviously, I think it's a good choice from them. They will be opting for this Farah Ashe composition with the Brawl, which I do kind of like. Your DPS have a lot of playmaking potential in this. The damage boost on either character is really, really strong, and the Mercy can keep them both alive really, really easily, while the Ana can focus on the front line. On the attack here, we will see the Widow, which I personally like seeing on this map, and we'll also be seeing the Torbjorn. I don't know if we'll keep that, but if we do, I don't hate it, actually.
We will not be switching over to the Mei. Mei is always, it's not fun for main tanks. It's an interesting comp to watch with the Brawl comp. Right now, the teams are just going to be poking back and forth at each other. We do see Egg maybe trying to look for a pick. Is going to be continuing on that Widow, not swapping off as you do sometimes see, and is immediately going to fall to McNewbie. Little Sloth going down as well, and I imagine we're going to be seeing a swap coming out here from Egg as the rest of Velocity University is going to continue to back up here and try to make it out with their lives. And yeah, Egg will be switching over to the McCree.
That was a really poor job from Velocity University. They went way too early. Their text was on the Baptiste to give the Widow the eye field, and it just switched to Ana, but they had already rotated through Hotel, so they rotated without their Ana to keep them alive, and they just got out sustained, and they're able to they kind of gave up the first fight there. They needed to wait a little bit longer before they were able to engage there.
Yeah, for sure. And we do see Clutch Caliber going for, nice aggressive fire strike, trying to, keep claim on this choke here, make them a bit scared to push through. And we do see them start kind of making their way towards that choke, not quite pushing in yet. Just continuing to poke back and forth each other. They are now through that choke. Just kind of both Orions facing off here. McNewbie with that pick onto Egg through Hotel, it looked like. So a really nice pick there, and we are going to be seeing a Shatter coming through. I don't think that hit anyone. So interesting play from Clutch Caliber, but they are able to make Velocity University continue to back up. Both these teams it's going at a very, very slow pace here than you usually see on Kings Row.
Yeah, they're trying to play around Egg to get these picks onto the Farah, I feel like. Dave Striker doesn't really want to force an engagement against this Farah, especially now that she has Barrage. But Egg keeps getting picked by McNewbie, who's just popping off on this Ashe right now.
And we're going to be seeing the Nano coming down onto Clutch Caliber, the grab to help counter and keep him in place. So he can't do any damage to the team, but he is still going to get that Fire Strike kill onto Dave Striker, and then a charge kill onto Tex. Clutch Caliber does need to make it out, but I believe he can do, because his team is right there supporting a McNewbie with those kills, able to help get him out.
There are 5 ultimates on the side of Crusaders right now, as opposed to about, they switched up the high noon, so now it's about 4 on the side of Velocity University. Velocity University needs to step up their aggression here. They need to start taking these engagements much quicker, and they're giving too much time for the DPS of Crusaders to find picks. Little Sloth is in Narnia right now. Not really sure what he's doing, but if they don't keep an eye on him, he might be able to find a pick in the back. That might be what he's looking for.
Yeah, definitely for sure. Kind of throwing some of the shurikens in there. The slam did come down pretty big there, but they weren't able to get a lot of value off of it. Clutch Caliber does fall, and the grab gets thrown out there along with the barrage. Not getting a lot of direct kills there, but they are able to pump in a lot of damage. And with the res on Clutch Caliber, it does look like it's going to be Crusaders able to continue to keep the point here. Only a minute left for Velocity University to break through on point A.
Yeah, they did use kind of all their ultimates there on the side of Crusaders, but the Nano was thrown in from Tex, and now it's starting to be a little bit less doable here for Velocity. I would have preferred they had saved that Nano for Little Sloth, who was once again just in the middle of nowhere, and it looks like he's going to get staggered now.
Yeah, really unfortunate, because you already have very low time bank. Dave Striker going down as well, but the beat getting invested kind of questionably there, and they're going to be having to back out with only 23 seconds left. That beat would have been something you would have loved for that last stall fight, but they're not going to have that resource, and now only with the Blade and Bob for this last fight.
That is a perfect fight scenario there for the side of Crusaders. The beat gets thrown in, and you don't have to invest any ultimates to do it. And now they will have a Nano and a Bob coming online here to help them secure this point.
Aggressive charge to get that point touch. Little Sloth does come in and take out Gerber, but it's kind of actually pretty even right now, especially with Crusaders having absolutely no supports. and losing Clutch Caliber and High Quality as well. This is actually looking much more winnable for Velocity University, and they might clutch it out in this last overtime fight with only their Sigma still on point. Quackamore being in here, but now with the reinforcements coming in, they are going to have a solid hold here on the point and be able to move on to point B.
Yeah, because of how that fight played out, how slow it took, or how long it took to win the fight for Velocity, they will be able to hold pretty close here for the side of Crusaders. And they have a lot of ults to do with. They'll have the Barrage, the Grab, the Shatter, and the Nano with the Valve coming online, just in case those 4 aren't enough.
Yep, just kind of facing off, throwing those pot shots at each other, looking for those initial picks to help push in on as the card just kind of moves forward, and they're just kind of going to play around that, pulling out the Flux here, trying to get some damage in. Not really able to get a lot out of it, and Xylesia's going to be throwing down the Barrage, getting a nice 3K out of it. Clutch Caliber also with that charge onto Little Sloth. It's going to be Crusaders taking back control of the point here, and they're looking pretty strong going into this next fight.
Yeah, Xylesia is the one showing up in the kill feed right now, but Gerbert's the one who carried that with a huge sleep onto Quackamore's Flux there, keeping his team alive, then pulls out the Nano, and Xylesia is able to finish off the Stragglers. Really, really nice Flex support play there, and that is exactly what you want out of your auto player on this map.
Yep, Xylesia spamming in shots from above, putting in a lot of damage, which kind of forces them to back up, especially with that anti-nade coming in. They're gonna, try to poke back out here again, but McNewbie with that kill onto Brewer, losing that Mercy player and all that healing, and the kill onto Little Sloth with that amazing Dynamite, and it's just really, again, not looking good for Velocity University right now.
Yeah, this is one of the hardest chokes to break in the entire game without the help of an ultimate combo that's really strong, like a Grab Dragons or a Nano Blade, which they are getting close to. Egg will fall there to McNewbie. The one thing I want to point out, though, is this position's really good for Xylesia, because she can just sit up above the arches and spam shots down, and Egg can't really see her and can't contest her. And while Egg is looking for that, McNewbie is able to find him and pick him off. And they're playing this really, really well for Crusaders. I can't see this getting broken anytime soon.
Yeah, Xylesia's positioning is definitely really strong. He's having a good showing on the spar. Is about to have another Barrage again. We're going to be seeing a number of ults get thrown down, and the Nano Blade gets slept. There's a beautiful sleep out there from Gerbert, and Xylesia's able to pull out a nice Barrage and get a 2K there, and it's just going to be a nice sweep coming out here from Crusaders, and able to just clean them out really well.
That is a crushing fight loss there for Velocity University. Their last hope was in that Nano Blade, and Gerbert just denies it completely. Absolutely dominant Flex support gameplay.
Grab is going to prevent them from getting anywhere near point. Oh, Tracer does get the touch though, but I don't think it's going to be enough, as she is very weak. We do see the reinforcements coming in, trying to keep this alive as much as possible, but Clutch Caliber getting the kill onto Egg. Quackamore following soon after. We just have the other people coming in. Tex does come to McNewbie, but it's still definitely a huge uphill battle, especially with McNewbie getting res, and I don't think they're really going to have a chance here. Ball just trying to stall it as much as possible, but the Shatter is going to put that to a quick end, and that is going to be, the King's Row attack for Velocity University. Really not what you like to see, because it's very hard to hold point A, fully, so it's going to be really hard for Velocity University on the fence.
You say that it's hard to hold point A fully, but that's kind of the spot the Velocity was in there. They were going to get full held, and they were able to get at least that first point in here, so it is possible for them to take this map despite of that crushing attack. But what it comes down to is, are they going to be able to keep the morale up? That was a very long time spent just losing fights over and over, and they got to make sure they keep their mental up. If they're going to have any chance here to win this defense, it looks like they will be opting for a May Brawl comp, which is pretty powerful here. There are multiple chokes along the first point, namely the first one and then the one by statue that you can use this Mabel on to kind of isolate the tanks. Xylesia, though, will be on this Pharah that he was absolutely popping on. McNewbie looks like he will be pulling out the Widow on attack. So obviously right now, Crusaders has the advantage. They've been playing very, very well. A lot of great individual playmaking from throughout the roster, really. Gerbert having a lot of really good plays there on second point. Clutch Caliber has been deploying a lot of, making a lot of space in the front line. And it's just allowing these two really talented DPS players to find every bit of value that they need to find in order to help their team win.
Yep. I definitely agree. We are going to be seeing these two teams coming out of the gate here, checking for Widow, kind of spamming some of those shots up into that higher window. But they are not going to be, or they were finding Newbie. Newbie's just kind of hiding out back there right now. Just trying to pump in some of these shots on the far, put in that damage, and it's kind of working. Velocity University is taking a lot of picks, but they are able to heal it up pretty decently. And it's just kind of poking back and forth right now, looking for that initial pick. We do see Clutch Caliber kind of rotating around through Hotel there. Does get the kill into Little Sloth, but in not great position, gets taken down by Dave Stryker. Both those, just Clutch Caliber out there, and so it's going to be looking like Crusaders actually pulling out some of those wins. They are getting a lot of kills here and doing a really good job, and it looks like they are going to be able to take point A despite the loss of their Reinhardt there.
Yeah, Velocity doesn't really push that advantage that they get from that early pick, and they kind of just lose the fight. And now they don't really have a lot of ultimates here to hold this. It's kind of one-fight territory for them. If they lose this fight now, they will lose the map.
Yeah, Clutch Caliber trying to prevent them from even getting close to where they need to be, just making sure they aren't going to get anywhere near Cart. McNewby getting that kill onto Little Sloth. Did kind of lose some of that space there, as kind of always happens, but the kills are going to be coming through from the DPS, made that space for them to do that. The Nando's going to be coming through, but the Shatter is going to prevent from getting any real value. The Barrage coming through as well. Sleep does come down, but it's not going to be enough, and we are going to be seeing a map win here for Crusaders. So it is now going to be 2-1 with that King's Row win.
Yeah, and we got to give map MVP there to Gerber. Just an absolutely outstanding job there from the flex support. I really thought Velocity had a chance in a couple of those fights. But in both times, Gerber just shut it down, shut down their Flux, shut down their Nano Blade. You can't ask for a better performance out of your flex support there. Xylasia, an honorable mention from plays like this. They just go in and they pop off. Really, really good job from Crusaders there, taking a commanding fight win back to put themselves up 2-1 in the series.
Yeah, and I'm going to be honest, after Havana, I was a bit worried that maybe, while Crusaders had a good start, Velocity University was able to just kind of warm up, and they might be just taking this to a 3-1, but Crusaders was really able to bring it back there and put up an amazing fight against Velocity University, and Velocity University kind of falling off a bit there. But so yeah, I'm super excited to see what's going to be happening in this fourth map, because I'm now just, really prepared for either of these teams to do really well.
Yeah, absolutely. I really think this one will go down to the wire. Right now, what we're seeing is that these teams are winning on their map picks. I do believe that Velocity University or that Crusaders had the pick of Ilios. I could be wrong on that, though.
I think it was Velocity University, because I think they are lobby host here.
Okay, so it was Velocity University. But regardless, these teams have been showing a lot more prowess on their own map picks. Of course, Velocity had that great performance on Havana, and Crusaders just dominated on King's Row. So now it's Velocity's pick again. Maybe they'll come back with a vengeance, and they'll dominate on the next map type that I believe is Assault. So I believe the maps we have available are, you'll have to help me on this one too. It's Volskaya, it's Hanamura, and it's one other, right?
Anubis.
Anubis is the other one.
Yeah, you take out those two that people hate more than the other two CPs in in Horizon and Paris. I view them mostly equally. I kind of am more understanding why people don't like Paris as much and Horizon, but all two CPs generally aren't favored. But we will be going to Volskaya is what they ended up picking here on Velocity University. So what do you think we're going to be seeing on this map?
Volskaya has, I've seen a lot of different things here. Dive sometimes gets played on both attack and defense. Brawl, we typically don't see that much. We have seen some bunker comps get played here. I personally like a certain comp that involves Torb here. But given how both these teams are playing, I gotta understand both these teams want to play Brawl. They've kind of been favoring it every map, even on Havana, which you typically never see Brawl on outside of Goat's era. Both teams ran Brawl. So I gotta admit, I do expect to see a brawl from both sides here. However, I would expect to see this kind of more pick centered comp with the Pharah Ash come out from the Crusaders, because they were running it just so well on King's Row, and I don't see any reason for them to switch off of it.
Yeah, for sure. Sorry, I do occasionally space out and not quite catch what you say.
Both teams will run Brawl, is what my
yeah,
is.
generally. Yeah, I think there's chance of that double shield, just because it does work pretty well in the defense here. But we'll kind of see what the teams, and we haven't seen any of them pull out the Orisa yet, I believe. Because I think even if Orisa is still playable in some circumstances, it's still the kind of the mentality around it is that Orisa isn't playable right now.
Orisa is completely playable.
I'm just saying the general mentality right now is that she isn't. So I think teams are avoiding it until they kind of learn how to work her back in properly.
Yeah, I can see that. Basically, the only real difference right now is the fact that Halt it's easier to hit like a couple people with, but it's not, you can't hit full teams with it. So like getting like massive pull flux combos, that's not going to happen anymore. But because the projectile speed is faster, you can secure like a single pick off of it, which is still pretty, like, that's still good. Like there's no reason not to have that. It still will see some value. And I definitely still think it's viable, but it's not going to dominate. Halt is I don't think is like insanely good anymore. It's no longer just a grab off a 10-second cooldown. It's kind of it's like an all right ability, and it will give you some value. But it has now lost its status of being as good as an ultimate ability. So yeah, I definitely think Orisa's weaker. But I still think she sees value, especially as this like stalwart, this like I hold this territory, you can't stop me type character with the fortify, with the pull to get people off of her, and with that shield.
Yeah, I'm definitely excited to see exactly how it's going to be shaping up. We should be starting Volskaya Industries soon enough here. It is taking a little bit to get these teams going. And correct me if I'm wrong, we did see Little Sloth get swapped out for Audacity over on Velocity University, and I do think Audacity wasn't available before, so I think Audacity might be the main roster player there. So I'm curious to see how that's going to be swapping things up over there, and if we're going to be seeing some better plays coming out of that team.
So I've talked to both Little Sloth and Audacity, and they are the starting DPS duo for Velocity. Egg is actually just a sub. But both Egg and Audacity are hit scan players. So that could be telling for what they run here. It's possible one of them has like a certain projectile character that they play better than Little Sloth, who's the typical projectile player for Velocity. And that could be why they're both in right now. But I think it's actually more likely that they could be running a double sniper defense if two hit scan players are in.
Yeah, definitely a possibility here. Yeah, I'm kind of running out of things to talk about because these teams are taking a little bit longer than I'd like. These teams are going to get started soon enough. Yeah, I don't know. Let's start to a quick break. Make sure we don't just sit here stumbling over our words until the map gets started. So we'll be back pretty shortly here for you. See, yeah, okay. Like I said, this could be a very short break. I didn't lie to you. So we're going to be getting started here at Velocity University. Don't worry about it. Shut up, Mysfyt. Let's start talking about what the defense is running here.
So, like I mentioned, both Audacity and Egg are hit scan players, and it looks like that will be shown. It looks like they will be opting for an Ash McCree composition. Not horrible. I actually see this get a lot of value in ranked, personally. It's a pretty consistent comp if you have solid hit scan players, but I think Velocity does. I think that's probably what they're hoping for here, is to get the value out of that. We do see a bit of a strange comp coming out on offense for the side of Crusaders. They will be running, okay, it looks like they will probably be swapping onto a double bubble composition, but they do have this Ana Zen we saw them run on Havana, which didn't really get them the value. Of course, in that composition, they were running the more brawly, the Rein Zarya, and in this one, they are running the dive comp, so it could see a little bit more prowess. We did see the Ana Zen dive kind of back in Season 1 with dive, so maybe they're going for something like that. Right now, they are showing this, oh, it looks like they will be going for a brawl comp, actually. Uh-oh.
Yeah, so we'll kind of see how that ends up panning out for them. We haven't really seen much of this playstyle, especially with the Sombra. I don't think I've seen Sombra in quite a long time, actually. So I'm going to be curious to see how they end up pulling that off as we start to get started here, throwing some of those punches. Initially, we already have the Sombra making a little bit of noise on point, drawing some of the attention away. But it's just going to be continuing to throw some of these punches back and forth, trying to get some of the damage in there, but really nothing coming through for either team. They do just kind of need to push in, but we do see the hack coming through onto Dave Stryker, nearly getting the kill, but not quite securing it there, but they are able to get more pushed in, take that space that they lost, but Dave Stryker's going to be able to get the kill into Clutch. Caliber just going to push it back in the favor of Velocity University, and they're going to be able to push Crusaders back out in past the choke.
I really do not like the matchup between these two comps right now. I think Velocity has a really big advantage over what Crusaders is running. These dive DPS can pull off big ult combos with like an EMP Nano Blade, but I think there's just much more consistent value from the comp that Velocity has elected to run here with the Dynamites, the Flashbang, and just the consistent damage from both these hit scan players.
Yeah, we're getting some of the rotation coming around, seeing that Sombra and the Genji in the backline, but Chinote and Xylesia are going to be going down. Ooh, but the kills come through onto Dave Stryker and Tex. You know, arguably a bit more value there, and so they're going to be trying to continue to keep in this fight, get more of those picks coming through, seeing what they can do. They do get the Shatter just onto Quackamore, a bit targeted there. Gerber getting the kill into Audacity as well, but Egg kind of getting some of those shots in as well, and there's very few players left on really either side here. But I think the spawn advantage is for Crusaders, but they are going to be backing off here.
That's a little strange to me. I didn't really feel like they needed. Maybe they did. Maybe the bot was a little bit too much. Something I want to point out there is that the dive DPS did a really good job of like punishing a mistake there made by Crusaders. Or by Velocity rather. In this comp, you kind of need to play more reactive and kind of react to what the dive TPS do and not get so aggressive, but that's exactly what they did, and it kind of almost burned them there.
Yeah, we do see the shadow coming down from Dave Stryker. Tex does get taken down by Xylesia, and they weren't able to get a lot of value off of that shatter. Newbie with the kill onto Audacity as well, and it's looking really good for Crusaders right now, and they are able to take that point A fight.
Yeah, really clutch grab there from High Quality, able to grab both supports from the enemy team, and they were able to just win off that. And they will have this EMP Blade here, not a Nano Blade because they had to burn it onto the Reinhardt. But it's still EMP Blade is a very good combo. The one thing McNewbie has to do here to ensure his team wins is hit Brewer with this ult. If they miss Brewer and he's able to get the sound barrier off, it can spell disaster for this Blade, and they may not be able to pull the fight out.
Yeah, it looks like Brewer is definitely positioning. He knows that EMP is there. He's preparing to throw down that B at a moment's notice as Crusaders begins to push into point B here. Yeah, we see the EMP. Looks like Newbie is finding out where Brewer was and is ready to make sure he gets hit with it. It doesn't. Looks like it hit Brewer, so there's not going to be seeing the beat come in, and it's looking really good for Crusaders. They're able to get those picks off of the EMP, continuing to get those picks, and it's looking really good for Crusaders right now. They just need to make sure they secure this cleanup coming through. The beat is going to be there to stop some of the damage coming in from the shatter, and it is going to be a pretty clean cap on point B with 3 minutes 26 on the time peg. It's looking really good for Crusaders. Started about out a bit rough on point A, but once they got set up, they were able to do really well.
Quackamore almost made it back to the point there with that flux and the speed boost there. That was so close. But like you said, that was a pretty clean cap there. Brewer just getting a little bit too antsy and peeks out just a touch too much. McNewbie is able to hit him with the EMP. Like you mentioned, McNewbie doing a really good job of scouting, finding Brewer before his team commits. Really good coordination there from Crusaders, knowing that they have to wait until Lucio is spotted before they can commit to that fight. And they play that really, really well. It's clear they are practiced on this map. We'll have to see what they do on their defense here. It looks like they will be opting for this pick brawl comp with the Pharah and the Ashe, which, of course, Velocity was unable to kind of deal with on the last map. We'll see if they can have a change of luck once we get this one underway.
Yep, and I'm not sure exactly what I kind of have to talk about. I'm just kind of looking forward to seeing how the attack ends up going here for Velocity University, and if Crusaders can look as clean on their defense as they did on their attack. And we saw them do a really good defense like King's Row, so they definitely know how to do that, and they're looking strong on this map, like you said, even though it is not particularly their map pick. But curious to see how this ends up going.
Yeah, absolutely. We will see kind of a weird comp, the Rhine Roadhog, which has been seeing some play in Tier 3, but I found it to be kind of more of a joke than anything else. I wasn't sure it was serious, but it looks like they are actually committing to it here.
Yeah, McNewbie getting a nice kill into Egg. you know, to start out this defense. Kind of take some of the wind out of the sails, but Silesia also getting the kill on Detect. It looks like that's going to be it for Velocity University's push here. And they're just going to have to back out and keep as many people alive as they can. Quackamore is going to be getting taken down, but looks like... Ooh, no, Brewer also getting tossed out, but it's going to be actually really good cleanup there. Able to take out Dave Striker as well. Really chasing those kills, make sure no one gets out alive.
Yeah, and we talked about how hard this far Ash Comp was for Velocity to break on the last map, and it looks like we're seeing a repeat of that. Velocity looking a little bit lost with how to get into it there. We will see Quackmore back onto the Zarya, which I think is a much more consistent pick here. It gives your Ryan a lot more resources. There will be a hack here onto the Pharah, but I don't think he's going to get anything.
I mean, it does reduce, you know, Xylesia's, you know, power and pressure putting in, and does get taken down there. Does get res back up, but Brewer's going to be able to get the kill into McNewbie. So, one DPS going down. Xylesia's going to be popping the barrage, able to take out Egg, not able to do much else except for pumping some extra damage. But Dave Striker getting taken down. Looks like it's going to be the end of that push for Velocity University, and they will have to retreat back into their spawn once again.
Yeah, Audacity is getting close to this EMP here. They will be coming up on that ultimate. I would expect to see them try to use that to break. I think they need to take a dry fight here and try to get out some of these ults from their opponents if they want to have a chance. Because I don't think the ults that they have beat the ults that Crusaders have with this grab Nano Ryan and even the Valk to keep people alive. That Mercy giving them the power of the res too if someone were to drop. So I think they need to play this very safe if they want to have a chance of breaking this point.
Yeah, we're going to be seeing University kind of rotating around through that side room. The Shadow does come down and hit a couple of people. We're going to see the counter Shadow coming out from Dave Striker there. Zillia dying to his own shots there, but it does look like it's going to be coming out for Crusaders anyway. Egg doing his best, trying to get some of those kills in there, but it's not going to be enough, and we see Velocity University having to return to the spawn room once again.
Yeah, and Velocity kind of... Like I said, they needed to take that dry fight and like get out some ultimates, but they end up having to use two of them. They use the Shatter and the Nano. So now it's just down to an EMP and a Grav, maybe a High Noon too. I mean, they could combo all three if they really, really wanted to, and they really wanted to break the point. Yeah, it kind of sad they no longer have the Nano.
Yeah, but, you know, I'm curious to see how this EMP ends up getting used. It gets thrown down, catching everyone but the two DPS there. Clutch Caliber gets taken down off it. Gerber going down as well, and it's looking really good for University to take this first point, but they do need to continue getting these kills, and they do with the kill onto Chinote. We do see Tex die on the side of University, but it's just some healing, and they do still have Brewer up with that P if they so need it, but it doesn't look like they will, and they are going to be getting this cap onto point A with 39 seconds on the clock left. As they are going to be getting some additional time going into point B. Yeah,
really good execution off that EMP there. That ends up being the only ultimate they really need there because they got very aggressive on it. Were able to catch out two members of the enemy team with it, and now they will be going into the next map, or the next point rather, with almost 4 ultimates to their name. So they have a real chance here to snowball this, and I think they need to, given the time bank that Crusaders has.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, Crusaders really had a great timing, so they need to take a really clean fight here, and we do see the grab coming out. The Shire trying to prevent some of that, you know, pressure coming in from that. The beat getting thrown down as well. Tanuti does get the res onto McNewbie, but gets taken down by that great Deadeye coming out from Egg. But it does look like it's going to be Crusaders able to hold this and fend off the rest of the University players here.
Yeah, it looks like a tick will come through, but I think that will kind of spell the end of this. There's just too many players still alive.
Yeah, Clutch Caliber does get taken down, but yeah, they weren't quite able to keep up that point pressure to prevent the tick from coming through, but you do win that fight. It's just going to be a bit easier for them to, you know, get the cap off of their next fight if they do win.
Yeah, but they did have to use most of their ultimates here, so now they will just have the Nano and the Shatter. I do like the switch from Xylesia off the Pharah onto the Hanzo. Both DPS, they're getting a lot of picks for Crusaders, and that was kind of how they were able to win that fight, despite it looking kind of not in their favor to begin with.
It gets a nice pick, and Audacity coming in as well. Looking really good for University is that Nano coming through. Grab does catch the support line there. Claude does get a pick on the Egg, but you know, Velocity University is doing a lot more right now, and we're kind of getting into that stall time for Crusaders, and that hit on the Bob actually makes it so it's not contesting point there. Really great job, and so that's going to be the cap coming through for University. They do have about 2 minutes less than Crusaders does. This is going to be an uphill battle for them, but you know, of the results they could have gotten, that's looking pretty good for them.
Yeah, I absolutely think that's pretty much that's almost the best case scenario for them, given how the first point went. Obviously, they could have won on the first fight, but winning out on the second's not too bad. They will have a decent time bank to spare, much better than a 1 minute time bank that they would have gotten if they had lost that last fight there. And now they probably will have time to build some ults here. If I'm on Velocity right now, I think we play for something like an ult combo that we can build really quickly. Like they kind of have this EMP Nanoblade situation going on earlier. I think they try for that again, but this time commit to the dive. You're letting these DPS like McNewbie, who are just really gifted on these hitscan characters, kind of sit on high ground uncontested for a really long time, and Dive is really good at punishing that. It's really good at making these players that want to sit in the back and just spam shots. You can punish that. You can take that high ground from them, and a Brawl Cap can't really stop you that well. The Rhine and the Zarya can't really get up onto that high ground so easily as the Dive comp can to protect her Ashe. So that can be a way that they try to break it here. Looks like they will be opting for a really fast Brawl comp, though, switching to Moira Lucio over the Ana and going with the Reaper instead of the Sombra.
Yeah, I think Reaper is definitely going to be an interesting pick coming in here. I'm interested to see what they're going to end up doing with it. I don't think you mentioned the Moira over there on Crusaders, which I also think is kind of an interesting pick and not something we've been seeing a whole lot of. We are going to be seeing Velocity University moving in here really fast, trying to just put the pressure on, make best use out of their time bank as they can. Audacity does fall quickly to McNewbie, though, so they are losing that DPS. Dave Striker going down as well, and so it looks like that's going to be kind of a non-starter on that first fight there for Velocity University. Just, you know, making sure they die quickly, honestly, and go back to the spawn room.
Yeah, Egg almost finds the pick on Chinote, and that probably would have won them the next fight if he had, but he's able to stay alive here. This comp wants to play really, really fast, and the one big counter to it is if Xaylia can find really, really big picks while they're kind of moving in. Like, there's nothing in this comp that can contest Xaylia. It's going to come down to whether or not Velocity can win the fight faster than Xaylia can find value.
We did see the shadow coming through. Doesn't look like it really landed with anyone. Oh, I think it did land on Egg, but we are going to be seeing two picks coming through for either side onto the DPS. Audacity also takes down Chinote, and Clutch Halber taking down Dave Striker. Still very, very even in this fight. Looks like it's slowly swinging towards Crusaders as they continue to get those picks. We just need to get that final cleanup there. But it's only 17 seconds on the clock for Velocity University, so they're really just kind of going into making sure they can touch the point even.
Oh no, Egg's gonna fall early there. It kind of looked like he kind of had to go into touch. It seemed like that was going to be the communication, but I think he should have probably waited for Quackamore. Yeah, it looks like they have a chance.
Yeah, especially with that graph coming through and just getting absolutely slaughtered there. And that's not going to be enough for Velocity University. There is still the chance to tie this and send us to that map 5. But you know, yeah, you do have to hold off the enemy team for a whole 3 minutes 26. Which, judging by the first point A defense, they'll have to change stuff up if they want to get that hold.
Yeah, you'll have to remind me real quick. I believe the format this year is 1st to 3, correct?
Yeah, it is 1st to 3, so we could go to a map 6, depending on how things go.
Potentially, yeah. So this is kind of a, I want to say win-lose situation here for Velocity, but it kind of isn't. It's kind of like a draw and give yourself a chance to fight another day type situation. Of course, if they do give up this point, they will be defeated. It will be a 3-1 victory in favor of Crusaders. And I don't think Velocity is ready to go out yet. I think they're going to bring out all the stops here. They are going back on this McCree Ashe comp, McCree Ashe comp, and I think they will see some value here if they can just play around it. You can't get too aggressive here if you're the tanks this time. Last time they kind of got screwed because they got a little bit too aggressive. They left their supports kind of without peel, and McNewbie and Xaylia were able to just find the picks that opened up the fight. So I think this time around they need to play a lot safer, much more reactive to what they have. The double hit scan will take care of Xaylia, no problem. I'm kind of surprised they don't have a Mercy for this Pharah, and that's kind of just going to get eaten alive. But we'll have to see how this plays out here. Of course, this is a win or go home type situation right now.
Yep, definitely. You know, very. You know, it's this very situation where you're back against the wall. You have to win right now and get this defense going. So they only need 1 tick on the point here. Elysia taking a lot of damage really early on. Will probably does not actually able to get the chance to heal back up. So really good pick. Gonna be sending Crusaders just backing up as Clutch Caliber gets antied and a lot of damage coming through there. So not the start you want. And you're gonna be seeing Elysia switching over onto that Genji, seeing what he can do with that pick.
Yeah, and of course, this is the comp we saw the first time around for the side of Crusaders. Gonna see if it gets the same amount of value. Like I said, it's gonna come down to how well the side of Velocity can heal for their supports and make sure they don't get picked off by these very opportunistic DPS. Opportunistic DPS picks. Of course, the McCree and the Ashe both very good at countering. Yeah, it's both of those characters. So yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Ooh, and Clutch Caliber gets taken down by Audacity, so again, it's not looking good for Crusaders. At least they are losing these fights rather quickly. You'd rather lose a fight quickly than take a long time. And they get that pick onto Egg, so it's going to take Egg a bit of time to come back from spawn and get properly set up. Oh, and who is that in the backline that I see? Okay, it's the Sombra hopping around there.
Yeah, she's just vibing in the backline right now. Typically what Sombras do. You mentioned how quickly
looks like she's actually going to go mess with Egg. Right back there. Try to get the kill and does get it! Gets the kill onto Egg! So that's, just a free pick, and even McNewbie's going to stay back to put pressure, but it actually looks like he's going to be coming back to mess with the main team fight here.
Here's the MP.
Getting thrown down, they could really capitalize off of that, trying to get those kills coming through. Nothing quite yet. The Quackamore goes down. Audacity is able to get the kill on the Clutch Caliber, but it's still looking good for Crusaders with that Nano coming down onto Elysia and able to do a lot of work with that, getting a nice 2 kills. They just need to finish up with this cleanup. You're taking out Brewer, Audacity, and that Tracer. Audacity goes down. Need to get these continuing kills. Brewer goes down. And the sleep coming through onto Egg, and that's going to be it. And Crusaders is going to take that. There's some really good play from McNewbie. They're going for that spawn camp play. And so, yeah, Crusaders just looked really good and had some really great Sombra play.
Yeah, that was a really, really clutch play there by McNewbie. That's a really heads-up Sombra play. You know you had that transload here, so you, of all characters, have a really, really good chance of getting that spawn camp off. Little risky because, Egg was on the McCree earlier, but maybe, McNewbie scouted it and saw that there was a soldier there and knew that he could go take that duel. Really, really good play from him. And I did mention in the beginning, McNewbie is a player to watch out for in the Major Division as a DPS player. Very, very solid player. Played him in scrims. Has a lot of pop-off potential on these characters like Widow, the Tracer. His Sombra is pretty consistent too. Just really good mechanics from him. And he played a really, really good game tonight. Crusaders coming out with the 3-1 victory. I don't think that really represents how close this game was. I honestly felt like most of these maps could have gone either way. But in the end, it just falls to Crusaders, who had the more consistent and reliable performance.
Yeah, we are going to throw to a quick break and come back with an interview with one of the Crusaders players for you in a sec, so just stay around for that and hear what these players are going to have to say. Welcome back. We just watched an amazing match between Crusaders and Velocity University. It went 3-1 for Crusaders. Here for an interview, we have Clutch Caliber and High Quality, the tank lineup from Crusaders. How are you guys How are you guys feeling after that win?
Pretty good.
So
That all?
Yeah. I mean, it was pretty. When we went into the first map on Ilios, the first map, we were expecting to run a lot of dive, but we ended up getting kind of stomped on dive, and we were like, let's switch it up. And then we just started running Ryan Zarya the rest of the match.
Yeah, I just made that heads up play. Just like, nope, this isn't working. We got to switch it up. I think that's one of the big things that divides some of the higher tier teams is who can make those heads up plays and not just stick to the strict game plan.
Yeah. I agree.
Yeah, for sure. Something I want to ask you guys about. Obviously, you guys are the tank line for Crusaders, and we were talking about a little bit of Brawl there. What was kind of like the thing that made you think like, okay, we can beat these guys in Brawl? Was it something that you saw from them, something that you felt about yourselves? What made you think we need to run Brawl here if we want to win this map?
So with us, honestly, beforehand, we were running a constant like double shield, like Orisa Sigma with Paper. As you saw him come on the second map, Paper was always on Orisa, and I was actually playing Sigma. And we were honestly just running that 24/7. And then the nerfs to Orisa Sig came out, and we were like, well, there goes our entire strategy for the season. So we threw that out into the trash, and we started running dive a lot in our scrims. Because our coach, Hyper, he picked me up because I've played with him before. And we played a lot of like Brawl stuff, so he knew I was capable on Rhine. And during the match, I just felt like, personally, I felt our dive wasn't strong enough yet. So I think we were just I was like, Brawl's probably our next best comp, so we should just run a Brawl.
Fair enough.
Which I agree with that, because I know, like, for myself personally, I was just brought into this team probably about a week ago at this point, and we all just felt that Brawl is one of those comps that like everybody's comfortable on because it's always been there. So I just feel like for a fairly new team, Brawl is probably one of our better options we could go with over these more eccentric and coordination-based comps. So
Fair enough.
Yeah, so that was a pretty good win from you guys. There were kind of some ups and downs. Obviously, Velocity University was able to take Havana off of you guys, but you guys were looking pretty good. Are you kind of going into the rest of the season feeling a bit more confident about your gameplay?
Personally, I think yes, and I think for the rest of the team, very much so. I know personally I was very nervous coming into this first match, and I was like, I played in Owlet. I don't remember which season, but I was just a ringer. I came in for one match, so I've never actually played in a tournament before. So me personally, I was very nervous, but I think this really boosted for me personally my confidence.
Yeah,
you definitely had a very good showing.
Yeah, I'd kind of have to agree with what Clutch says, because especially with this being the first game of the season, it's always nice to get a win on the board early, just to start the good mentality. Because I know we, like I said, we're still fairly new, so just getting the confidence going. I think in the future that's going to help us just play more aggressively and play the way we need to play to win.
Yeah, just keep the ball rolling. I get what you're saying. One last thing I'm going to ask you here: is there anyone that we maybe didn't highlight here that you want to point out? Maybe it was a player from the enemy team, maybe it was a player from your team that you think doesn't get enough love. So when you want to shout out and be like, "Hey, watch
Gerbert 100%."
Dude, that sleep on the Nanoblading Genji on King's Row was insane. I loved seeing that.
He took the flux and the Nanoblade.
So in scrims, Gerbert has always been very consistent. Like, I think Gerbert has been the most consistent player on our team. Everybody else is very, very talented group of players. But for consistency, I have never seen a bad showing from Gerbert. And he's either consistent or he's literally carrying our team.
That's definitely what you want out of players.
That's a solid combo right there.
Yeah, that's gonna be someone we're gonna have to be keeping an eye on as we go into your guys' future matches.
Oh yeah.
But I think that pretty much covers most of the questions we have for you guys. But yeah, so again, great job tonight. Good luck going into your upcoming matches in the upcoming weeks, and good luck in general for the season. But yeah, so thank you guys for coming and talking to us.
Yeah, good job tonight, guys. You deserve that win.
Thank you.
Yes, that's going to be it for us tonight from this stream. Thank you guys for coming out and watching the cast. I know you had some other options of games to watch, so thank you for watching this game. You definitely made the right choice. It's a very fun match to watch. Make sure to keep tuning into Owlet. We'll have a lot of great games for you coming in tomorrow. I'm not going to go over exactly what's going to be cast because I don't think we quite have it cemented in yet, but there's definitely going to be some good games tomorrow, so tune in for those. But that's going to be it for us here tonight. So, yeah, I think that's pretty much all we have. So, good night.